Wow, that was super quick. What, 2 days before somebody had to come out and help old Uncle Joe just, no, you didn't actually mean that, what you were actually trying to say, but they found the only other older person in government to clarify his words for him. Because again, hey, if there's any opportunity to just go ahead and piggyback off of the never-ending pandemic, you knew old Uncle Anthony would just come out of his closet. If Geppetto would cut the string so he could once again just get on television one final time before somebody will make him do the perp walk and he'll be showing up on network television like, we could never have seen this coming. Ugh. After Biden declares COVID-19 pandemic is over, Fauci reveals what he really meant to say was, oh God, let's fucking read a little bit of this. White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci attempted to walk back a statement made by President Joe Biden during recent interviews that the COVID-19 pandemic was over. What Biden really meant to say is that the very severe stage of the pandemic, having 3,000 deaths per day, just don't look into any comorbidities or anything else on top of that. And so what? We put a motorcycle accident death into the COVID death. So you never know what could happen to a visor if it gets fogged up because somebody's coughing too much. The droplets get in the way. That stage is no longer present, and it hasn't been for how fucking long? Over a year at this point, so fuck off. Fauci told Politico, people should not be cavalier that we're out of the woods. Yeah, we are, okay? People are just going back to their fucking life, and anybody who's still trying to cling on to all of these old anachronisms of the old pandemic days, they're getting fucking tossed out of government. Take a look at what happened at Sweden. Even though they didn't lock down, guess what? They just decided to go a little bit more right in their recent fucking election, just getting rid of anybody who was out there championing, we need to actually lock it down because this isn't looking good on the global stage. And people were like, well, you can go fuck yourself and we're just going to go ahead and vote you out of the government. I had an opportunity to bring up Sweden. I can do my Swedish chef impersonation. Come on, I love Yngwie Malmsteen and your women are hot as fuck. But I needed to get that out of the way in order to focus on what Joe is a little bit more concerned about at this point. Illegals in his backyard. Now he's got to have him and his friends go down there and make sure that Ron DeSantis isn't a bad man and he doesn't want to send anybody else up to Martha's Vineyard once again. Oh, except for he totally is. But a Texas sheriff launches a probe into suspected activities after flights to Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, I don't know what a Texas sheriff has to do with this at all. It doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense. The sheriff of a Texas county where 53 illegal aliens were found dead in a truck during the fatal people smuggling operation in June has opened an investigation into the 48 asylum-seeking illegal immigrants flown from Florida to Martha's Vineyard. No, there was air conditioning on those private planes that Ron DeSantis was chartering in order to get them up to Massachusetts. I think he'll be fine on that one. You have some problems in your own backyard, my guy. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar. And I said the investigation will look into suspected activities of Venezuelans being paid a bird dog fee to recruit the illegal immigrants from the area around San Antonio's Migrant Resource Center to get to Florida. Well, it sounds like a you problem, my guy. Maybe you should probably be working on the illegal machinations that you just laid out that are within your own confines instead of worrying about something that's going on in another fucking state. As we understand it, 48 migrants were lured, and I use the word lured. Well, that's nice. I call you a busybody, and I use the word busybody. Under false pretenses, to staying into a hotel for a couple of days. Did you talk to them before they got transported to Cape Cod National Guard facility? Did you get that opportunity to interview them? At a certain point, they were shuttled to an airplane where they were flown to Florida and eventually flown to Martha's Vineyard again under false pretenses in the information that we have. Are you making the accusation that Ron DeSantis elicited illegal immigrants from San Antonio area in order to come to Florida only to send them out again? Like, what are we talking about here? Just fuck off. Publicity stunt, my ass. Salazar said on the promise of work and further assistance that they were taken to Martha's Vineyard for little more than a photo op, video op, unceremoniously stranded there. As opposed to what? Leaving them in the back of an 18-wheeler in order for you to find them a couple weeks later? Bexar County Sheriff's Office said on Twitter, oh good, he's doing all of the right things and is working with private attorneys for the victims and advocacy organizations as part of the investigations. Yeah, just fuck off. I'd rather hear what Uncle Ron has to say on this one. Illegal immigrant flights to Martha's Vineyard were clearly voluntary. Yeah, of course they were, because it's like, hey, you guys want to go to see where all of those rich folks that are slipping into those flyers to come and live and seek a better life in a sanctuary city? You want to go see where those guys live? Cool. Ron DeSantis said on Monday that that the flights he chartered for illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard were voluntary. It's clearly voluntary. And all the other nonsense you're hearing is just not true. It's not true. And why wouldn't they want to go, given where they live? Oh, where they were. Yeah, of course. All the illegal immigrants who were transported to Florida, from Florida to Martha's Vineyard, had to sign consent forms and were given maps and numbers of services in the area, DeSantis said. Democrats have claimed that DeSantis and Texas Governor Greg Abbott, also a Republican. Why isn't that sheriff in Texas not investigating Greg Abbott he's bussing people out? Or Joe Biden, who has been flying illegal immigrants to different cities over the past 2 years. Doesn't care about them? Interesting. Not political at all. He's a Democrat sheriff, by the way, seeking re-election. I don't know how well that's going to work out for you. Democrats have claimed that DeSantis and, Greg Abbott, also a Republican, have engaged in human trafficking by sending groups of illegal aliens to other parts of the country for months. Abbott has been busing people who illegally entered the United States to New York City, Chicago, and Washington. Also hear that there's going to be a little delivery outside of one of Joe Biden's residents. That should be awfully fucking nice. I'm sure Hunter will put them to work. But it's funny. We got Uncle Joe up there, okay? He was shambling around on the 20th making proclamations. And we actually got word from Joe, because I got a little clip that I want to play for everybody first and foremost. Okay, you can see by the caption here from Breaking 911, a reporter was asking him for whatever reason, because Joe doesn't actually take questions from reporters, okay, unless one catches him in the ear, and he has an unsolicited nom flashback where he just shambles back to the podium for a hot second. This managed to be one of those situations where he just thought that he'd get away scot-free, and then he's like, oh, fuck, I better answer this, because started to mutter a little too loud for everybody. Why is the border more overwhelmed under your watch, Mr. President? And then Joe will just go on and say something retarded. You can read along if you'd like, but he also adds some additional commentary that's in there that I think is pretty important. So let's take a listen.
On the border, why is the border more overwhelmed under your watch, Mr. President?
Because there are 3 countries that are never happened. There are fewer immigrants coming from Central America, from Mexico.
Oh, okay. So fewer brown guys coming from Central America and Mexico. So why are you working with Mexico to stop the flow of illegal immigrants? We'll let him continue. He's not going to clarify this, but I just found that important. And anyways.
This is a totally different circumstance. What's on my watch now is Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua.
Illegal immigrants coming from Cuba, that's been a thing since, I don't know what, fucking 60 years of communism? Just saying, it's been a minute, so you're just fucking rewriting history, you old bastard.
And the ability to send them back to those states is not rational.
Ooh, interesting, right? Just a little small admission right there. You can't quite send them back to those places because those states, those countries, which, again, Joe, with geography terms, it's pretty fucking important. You can't send them back to Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua. Not entirely sure about governmental structure of Nicaragua. Sounds like they're thirsty. But Venezuela and Cuba, if they're not in proper position to be keeping there, I wonder what's the commonality there between those two countries. Poor, war-torn, or disheveled places. What could possibly be a shared commonality between those two places? It just escapes my mind a little bit, just a little bit. But so why is Joe working with Mexico? If not a majority of those people, which are just brand new to him, right? And all of a sudden, nope, there's just I have no idea. This is brand new to me. Well, you've never been down to the southern border, you old cunt, so of course everything's fucking new to you. But he's working with Mexico to stop the flow of illegal immigrants. I thought you'd been working with them for a long time. I thought you put somebody in charge of the southern border who haven't heard from her in a minute. She's too busy cackling and, I don't know, maybe getting some counsel from Willie Brown. The United States is working with Mexico officials to stop illegal immigration. President Joe Biden said on the 20th, "We're working with Mexico and other countries to stop the flow," Biden said after an unrelated speech in Washington. Of course, everything's all fucking unrelated. Was he telling a story about corn pop? He was responding to a question about the jump in illegal border crossings during his first term in office. More than 2 million arrests have already been made at the U.S.-Mexico border in the fiscal year of 2022, the most in U.S. history. Yeah, no, this isn't a brand new policy. Oh, he had to fix the broken system that Trump had. You don't want to compare any of the numbers there to just see how poor of a fucking job you're doing, other than just saying, oh, we can't send anybody from Nicaragua. I don't want them in my schools. And Cuba and Venezuela, we can't send them back, which is just code for, hey, if you're from Venezuela, Cuba, or Nicaragua, don't worry, we'll keep the light on for you. Like, why the fuck would you make that admission? Oh, and especially, like, it makes no fucking sense, because you're not currying any favor with the immigrants that came in here legally, because they look at them, and you can see this by the normally blue areas especially along the Texas border, okay? Very blue places, and then they started to see an influx of illegal immigrants, and then it's like, we came across the border properly, okay? We filled out all the paperwork, we got our green cards, and now we're here. We're as close to American citizens as you can possibly get. We don't like people coming through the back door. We went through the front door, so why the fuck are you trying to break in? That makes no goddamn sense. We aren't here to support that. We've seen that played out a whole multitude of times. And take a look at the redifying that's happening in Florida with all of those Cuban immigrants being like, no, we don't want to go back. Socialism is fucking gay. Communism is for university students. We don't want any of that shit. And they can smell that stuff from a mile away. And that's why they're voting more Republican than they ever have in realistically recorded history. So we got the hard facts on this one. According to Customs and Border Protection stats, of the 157,291 unique illegal immigrants taken into custody in August, 35% were from Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua. And that was a 175% increase from August of 2021. Yeah, an overwhelming majority. Where do the rest of them come from? Because there's a 65% unaccounted range, okay? Unique illegal immigrants who were those who have not been arrested at the border in the past 12 months. Oh, okay, cool. So what about the repeats and the ones that you didn't catch? Numerically, more immigrants from Mexico and northern Central America were captured. Oh, okay. But no, nobody's coming over from Mexico or Central America. Okay, Joe, glad you're in charge. And those, the group made up 36% of the unique encounters, but the number was down 43% from August of 2021. Failing communist regimes in Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba. Oh, okay, I didn't actually know that Nicaragua was a part of all that stuff, but yeah, you can kind of guess. Are driving a new wave of migration across the Western Hemisphere, including the most recent increase in encounters at the southwest U.S. border. Chris Magnus, the commissioner of CPB, said in a statement, White House Press Secretary Gay Blacklady told reporters in Washington that administration officials are doing what we can to work with regional partners to address this new challenge and process individuals in a safe, orderly, and humane way, but it's not humane to send them up to Martha's Vineyard to go hang out with the Democratic voter or donor class. Interesting. No, man, I just find this hypocrisy just a touch weird. I'm just saying they better do something about this soon. Otherwise, hey, man, Joe's going to have some additional landscapers to deal with next time he goes up to Delaware for the weekend. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.